got Coach Will. Coach, what's up, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you. I mean, everybody was so excited about your call. And man, first of all, hell of a beard. A lot of people comment on my beard, but I think in the beard rankings, you surpassed me, man. So you got the beard. Steven, what was your post, Steven? I'll get to you in a second, man. All right, so Coach, what I want you to do, man, we're going to switch places. I'm going to take a break. You're going to lead the chat.
Cool.
Good place to start out with. Just work the topics from one down, and then you can open it for questions. People have a lot of questions right now about the direction of Alabama.
Right.
Is the ship sinking? And look, just be honest. Like, look, it sucks to lose Julian Saint. He was the number one quarterback in 2024. It sucks to lose Caleb Down. Guys coming back, what you're hearing, kind of, the direction, and just kind of work with chat. They're going to support you. But I'm going to turn the keys over to you, man, and you take it away.
Fantastic, brother. I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, guys. Hope everybody's doing all right today. I'll answer your questions as they come in, but I'll start through the headlines and go from there. So obviously, Julian saying that news broke this morning with him. So some feedback or backstory on that. Austin Mack comes in from Washington, highly touted recruit. He was the 8th ranked quarterback out of his class, 73rd prospect out of ESPN's top 300. So good quarterback, 4-star. He's 6'6", a little on the leaner side as far as his frame, but Coach Jabbar recruited him. So obviously that's his guy. He came in and enrolled fairly quick. He got his classes picked yesterday, and he actually started class on campus this morning. So he's enrolled there. So Austin Mack is already enrolled, and he'll be starting to ramp up and participate in team activities. The Julian saying, as far as that, you got a freshman and a freshman. They met yesterday with Kalen DeBoer, Julian saying did, and I don't want to put words in Julian's mouth, but everything I'm hearing coming out of that is that it was more about a competition. You're bringing in a freshman, you got a freshman, and obviously had their words. Julian saying we're going to play this year anyways. You've got Jalen Milroe, who'll be top 2, top 3 in the Heisman. As far as his projections opening up in the season, you've got Ty Simpson, you've got Dylan Lonergan, you've got obviously Austin Mack now. Julian saying will be transferring out. Everything I hear, I think USC is probably going to be where he goes. He's from Carlsbad, which is around San Diego out there in SoCal, so about 2 hours from home for him. I doubt he goes to Auburn. Auburn picked up a quarterback today from the transfer portal, so I think that he'll probably go to USC. I think that'll be his number one destination. Going after that, you've got Bill O'Brien to Ohio State. So obviously he lost his job when Bill Belichick got fired. Ohio State lost their OC. And last year their offense was kind of stale from an engagement standpoint and a competitive standpoint. Bill O'Brien obviously on the market. They pick him up. I think it's the wrong fit for their athletes, a lot like Bill O'Brien was at Alabama. I think Alabama, with Bill O'Brien, you become a bit stale and you kind of just you don't get creative. You put a lot on the quarterback's shoulders, which is what Bill O'Brien does. And Will Howard's not that quarterback. Kansas State's a very run-heavy offense. If you haven't paid attention to any of their, I say last 3 or 4 seasons, we played them 2 years ago in the bowl game. They're run-heavy. The decision on the quarterback's hand. So I doubt that he's that quarterback for that system of offense. Mm-hmm. But he may not need to be because obviously they brought in Trayvon Henderson has returned, and they got Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss. And so you've got 2 starting backs, 1A, 1B on that team. So I would assume they'll be pretty run heavy. I just seriously question their ability to go vertical in a pro-style offense with the receivers leading that they have. And that's even with, I'm sure they've made additions. Obviously, they recruit very well, but still, I don't like that match there. So we'll see what happens. Then you go Amari Niblack to Texas. That wasn't surprising. Texas's tight end is going to be a day 1 pick, probably maybe early day 2. 693 yards, 10 touchdowns on the season, the best tight end by far, in my opinion, in college football. Elite, 6'5", 6'6", 250. And obviously he's a mismatch for linebackers. He can run. And when you look at Amari Niblack, you got Caleb Odom coming in. Amari Niblack has mentioned himself that he thinks he's the better tight end. I think Caleb Odom is a more athletic tight end. But I mean, obviously, you want to lose Amari Black. He is a matchup nightmare, regardless of what team he's on. For him, obviously, I don't wish bad on players. For him, that's probably a good move. He's probably going to walk in day one, replace their tight end accident, and obviously you've seen him. You can use him on the outside. You can use him on the inside. He's flexible, man. Like, he brings a lot to the table as far as athleticism, separation, and there's not too many guys that are 6'5", 230, 240 that can run like him. So obviously, I would have loved to see him in an 11 formation with Caleb on the other side, but we won't.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, because a lot of people are like, okay, because I talked to Amari Black at the Rose Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, you're on with Coach Will. Go support him. Coach, before I start asking you a couple questions and cruising down this list with you, will you tell everyone how they can follow you to like support you, or like, you know, like you're on Twitter, wherever, you know, whatever you have, or what's the best way they can follow you?
Yeah, man, I'll drop my Instagram in the chat so you guys can have that. But I'll be honest, man. So I don't really do a lot of this. I do more interviews. I have buddies that work for The Athletic, and so I'll give opinions, interviews for that. I scout for G5 teams when I have the resources to hit the recruit. For example, say you're UA Beach with Trent Dilford, you're probably not going to have the resources to recruit a guy to Southwest Texas or go all the way out West Coast.
Gotcha.
If I'm budgeting. So I'll recruit, and then I'll do recruiting reports for Rivals, 247 on 3, stuff like that. So I'll drop the Instagram and the page, and then this is one of the first for me. So I may start ramping this up because the response was pretty good, man.
Yeah, this the beard game, man. You're getting a lot of compliments. I like it, man. Because look, I didn't have a beard for a long time.
Yeah.
And then when I added beard life is different life.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, you take the beard away, you take pretty much like, you know, all the men. So,
sure, man.
Okay. So, I know Amari Black is out, and I know you talked about Julian Taylor up at the top. But Caleb Odom coming in, I'm not trying to like save the day by any means, but I mean, is he potentially a better prospect than Black? It seems to me like they have a little bit of the same skill set, but Caleb Odom is someone certainly that people should be excited about, that he's still here, and I think he gets on the field even faster now.
Yeah, so Caleb Odom, when obviously everybody recruited him, he's more mature physically. So he's built. So Martin Black, as tall as he is, he's got a very lean frame. Caleb will be, well, he is. He's already more well-rounded out. He gets in and out of his routes better. He can block, which Amari Black, the one, if you want to say anything, I'm not going to say he was a bad blocker, but he was only used on assists, whether it be 11 tight coming down and cracking back on the linebacker. But as far as actually setting an edge on a sweep or a toss is not really his game. He's not going to be the guy setting the edge on halfback stretch plays. Caleb will give you more of that, but he also gives you better hands. So I just think if you compare both guys at high school at the same point, Amari, very explosive, needed to polish up on X's and O's, getting in and out of routes, running certain routes in the route tree. Caleb runs every route in the route tree for a tight end. He goes flood, he goes mesh, he runs a slant. He can do a delay, which is you hit the end for a minute on the delay block, and you come back on a comeback on a 8-5 or 8-10. So no, man, I like what he's got as far as what he brings as a freshman day one, and he's your best tight end coming in. I think that Dupree, probably better overall blocker, not very explosive from a passing standpoint, not bad. He's just not going to blow the top of your deep. He's not a mismatch for linebackers. Oots, better. I think he's the best blocking tight end possibly in the SEC.
What kind of, can you explain to people like? And by the way, so Will is not a coach; he is a scout. So when we have Coach Will on, is Will the scout? That's how we're going to differentiate it. The scout. So like an H-back, for example, because I talk tight ends and I like tight ends, and you look to Alabama's tight ends that they have on the roster: C.J. Dupree, Robbie Oots. We haven't even talked about Danny Lewis. He's kind of back there. He was actually starting in the spring game, which is crazy. Yeah. But can you tell everyone the difference between like a tight end that could potentially be outside or hand in the dirt compared to like a H-back? Because Robbie Oots is like the H-back.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll give you some examples. Robbie Oots, I'd say if a fullback and a tight end had a baby, it'd be him. Thank you. That's how we put that. And what it means is right out of the backfield when it comes off, inline blocking, dives, whether him come out on a lead sweep, lead ISO, great for that. Even on if you go a triple option, you have Jalen fake the snap, pull the guard, have Oots run right behind him, and then your Jalen right behind that. So he has a lot of different variants as far as how you could use him. But he's not the guy that you want to line up on the outside. And for when we look at tight ends, traditionally speaking, that you want to put on the outside, that's going to be a possession type of tight end. You want 6'4" taller. You want probably high 4.5s or less or lower. You want a good set of hands, and you want explosiveness. The reason you want that is because you want him to be able to stress the defense in a multitude of ways. So from a defensive perspective, when I played defense, I played nose guard in high school, but I played linebacker and kind of I wouldn't say it's a star, but a hybrid where kind of undersized. So you play more like Jamal Adams. You play real close to the box at Wake. What you worry about, you want to stretch the defense as much as possible. And so with Jalen, you stretch you with his run. He can stretch you with his arm. But if I have a great running back, I've got great tight ends, then I can stretch your linebackers at that level. I can stretch you at the third level with wide receiver play. And so that's what we look at when we're recruiting tight ends. Does he get in and out of routes? Is he a great catcher? Does he run a route in the route tree? Does he get fast out of his breaks? Does he have good hips or good bend? And so that's what we look at. Oots, more stiff, not quite as athletic. So I wouldn't put him on the outside, maybe even standing up, trying to go against, let's say, a Deontay Lawson, Jahad Campbell, or even TJ Allen from Georgia, like a better athletic linebacker that can probably, because within 5 yards, I can jam you pretty good if I want to. And so you want somebody who knows his angles and is just more athletic. So that's the difference. An H-back's going to be a guy, he can't catch the ball. He's not your best tight end. He's not your best running back, but he can do a bit of both. And that's how we utilize that. That's how we break that down. And in today's offense, H-backs kind of go away now almost.
Yeah, I know that's kind of why, like, I follow the 49ers, and I think it's amazing how they're able to use Kyle Juszczyk, right? He's kind of one of the dying breeds. And I even saw him catch a slant pass this year, which I thought was, goes back to the offensive mastermind of Kyle Shanahan. Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of like these next couple of topics. So on the board, we're on with Will the Scout. Definitely hit the thumbs up, like the content, follow him. He's going to put his Instagram handle inside the comment box. Coach, or Will, coming in, this is a big weekend for Alabama.
Huge.
Ryan Williams. Yep. You have Parker Brailsford. You have Jeremy Bernard, another wide receiver. Jabbar Muhammad, Austin Mack, who they just got in. How are we feeling about these guys? Why should Alabama fans be happy? I mean, everybody's dying for like some good news. Kind of give us kind of intel, what you like, what you're hearing. Go ahead.
So I think I covered Austin Mack, but I'll do it again briefly. I think he's a good quarterback. He was the 8th ranked quarterback in the country when he went to Washington. 4-star. He's 6'6", 212, 215. Got a big arm. He was ranked 73rd at ESPN's top 300. So he comes in as a very good prospect. I think the advantage for him will be is that he's got a year under Kellen DeBoer's system. I think that's the big advantage here. If you're looking at Jalen Miller, you're looking at Ty Simpson, you're looking at Dylan Lonergan, those guys haven't been in the system yet. We hope that Jalen picks that system up and runs with it. And I think he will, because if you look at the Penix when he was at Indiana, he had a 54% completion percentage, made a huge jump going from Indiana to Washington. So the growth and the development we've seen as a quarterback, you got a guy 54%, 74% day one pick guy. In a matter of 2.5 years. And all you changed was a few scenery and an offensive system. And I think Ryan Grove will be a big component in developing that. But I think Austin Mack he's your safe space. If something happens, you have a guy that knows terminology that can probably translate on the sidelines. Like, he's not starting with signs, with calls. He knows what plays they're calling. But also he's going to compete. I mean, let's be honest, today's prototypical quarterback, but if you talk to a scout in the league, they want 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". They want a bigger body quarterback. Your Bryce Youngs, let's go back, Drew Brees, 6 foot and below. Those guys aren't technically what an NFL scout is looking for. They want a Peyton Manning type guy. So he'll have the size that Kellen DeBoer wants. And then obviously I think Julian saying, as great as a prospect he is on paper. We're not sure how he's going to be on this level. He's an undersized quarterback. They say 6 foot. He's probably more 5'11". And then if you look at what Kellen DeBoer likes, he wants an explosive offense. Julian Sand is not going to play this year, but I also think Julian Sand didn't want to be. I don't think he didn't want other freshmen coming in. That's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how that meeting went as far as all the details, but I knew that was a problem. And so it is what it is. But Austin Mack, I like. When you go to the defensive side of the ball, Jabbar Muhammad, I think he's a solid corner, man. I think he's a day one starter. He can start opposite side of Damani Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
He's great in man. He's great in zone. He shut down Texas's offense in that game. I mean, Donnie Mitchell, one of his worst games was against Jabbar Muhammad. So he can go one-on-one and cover your guys and be productive. So I think I'm doing whatever I can to get him this weekend. I don't want him to look at anywhere else. I want to close the deal if I can this weekend, if that means NIL, whatever it means. But I think the Washington players will get Kellen DeBoer discounts. So where our players we aren't getting Nick Saban discounts because he's gone. The guys that play with him at Washington that like him, that just played for a national championship, just went 11-3 the year before, 11-4 the year before. Like, there's a reason why they're coming to visit Alabama, and Kellen DeBoer's a reason of that. So if you play offense, you've got your OC, your O-line coach that just goes to the Moore Award. You've got your head coach. You've got your wide receiver coach. So you've got familiar faces, just different color, different stadiums. So I think they'll get discounts. I don't think that they're going to charge or try to get astronomical NIL money from Alabama. I think a lot of this comfortability and going to what you know compared to going somewhere that you don't know. So Jabbar Muhammad, great. Jameer Gimsley, I'm not sure, bro, to be honest with you, man. Like, as far as in high school, he's a 4-star recruit.
Yeah.
Thicker lower body, very explosive, great hands, built more like a running back playing receiver. Really good, but he hasn't really done anything on paper we've seen at the college level to say he's going to be X, Y, Z, or he's going to be day one starter at this. But as far as like getting off the bus guy, like looking good in pads, he looks great. And if he can translate the high school stuff to college, I think he's a good sign. Like, that's a guy that you want to acquire if possible.
Does Noah Carter kind of fit into that same realm? I watched his highlight tape yesterday for the first time, and I really liked what I saw. 6'4", 220 pounds. I don't know if you've had time to kind of dive into it, but this is a guy who is certain. I mean, it seems like he's kind of a lock to Alabama along with Parker Brailsford. What do you like about Noah Carter? I mean, the guy can seriously play every position: wide receiver, safeties, returning punts, coming off the edge. It seemed like he'd fit into this 4-2 scheme, but then it's like also maybe he could play offense. I don't know. Have you had a chance to dial into Noah Carter yet?
So when his evaluation in high school, he was evaluated as a true edge player. Like when we initially, like, that was what most, like, that's what the consensus was, that he was going to translate best as an outside rusher, a 3-4 pass rusher, a 4-2-5 linebacker. So we thought that he was going to be that guy. I still think the difference is you got a lot of quality pass rushers already. Like, you've got a lot of guys there. So you got a lot of guys there already. You've got Keon Keeley. We're waiting to see what's going to happen. I've heard rumors that that's a possibility he could make an exit. I've heard if he does, the earliest it would be is the April 15th window. So they maybe get him on the practice field, and that may change. But I prefer him at edge. I do like him as an edge rusher. But I think you can put him anywhere on defense. You could probably go. I wouldn't go free safety just because he's big. I'd utilize his size. If I was going to use him outside of the edge rusher, I'd probably put him a star linebacker hybrid who kind of roams the field and makes plays, but a little closer to the box. But I'd probably try him at edge, man. I think he's very athletic. He's got a hip bend. He's explosive off the corner, and his first step is really explosive. And that's what we would look for when you get an outside rusher. That first 2 steps, getting past, if you can beat a tackle before he's got out of his stance, that's what we like, out of his quality. And he's explosive. So I think he will go. He's one of the only Washington players I'm like 90. You can't be 100% sure, but 90% sure that he will go. He'll go there. I think he'll fit in nice. And I think we'll play with him. You have an option too. You put 20 pounds on him and you put him at Micah Jack and rotate him back and forth, because Bama last year did do a lot of that rotating, especially when Deontay Lawson got banged up. His ankle hindered him for over half the year. A lot of guys got playing time there. So I think I wouldn't want to see him bigger. I don't want to see him playing at 220. I want to see him more towards 235, 240, somewhere in that range, put on some good quality size. And I mean, people talk all the time like it doesn't matter. Look at Perkins at LSU this year. So they got him listed at 230. He's 212 pounds.
Yeah.
And they put him at middle linebacker this year. He got lost in the wash for 80% of the season. You want, even, I don't care how fast you are, those guys that are playing line are averaging 300 plus pounds in the SEC. That's a 100-pound difference. If they're able to get their hands on you, very rarely do you break that. And so I wouldn't want to see him put on some beef, man. But I think he's a great sign. They can pick him up. I think it's a steal. I think he's a quality player who can add depth to your team, but also grow into a solid starter. Probably, I wouldn't say this year because you've got a lot, but I'd say next year, the year after, year 2, year 3.
So do you think after this particular weekend, because people are like, what the hell was the good news, Devontae Smith? And I think like that could have meant a lot of different things, because it seems like things are so bad and people didn't like to wake up and see that, Julian Saint hitting the portal. And I know we talked a little bit about that. I mean, who do you feel? This is who I feel is actually locked in this weekend. So I feel probably Parker Brailsford, yes. Noah Carter, yes. Yeah. So those are 2 guys. I don't know about Jabbar Muhammad, just because I think NIL will come into play. A lot of people saying that's not part of the equation. I mean, you talked about him, just now. Yeah. Are you feeling good about him to Bama, Jamar?
60-40.
60-40. Okay, that's good. That's good news.
So I'm 60 that he will. Like Noah Carter, I'm 90-10 on those 2 guys. Like I'm pretty sure. I never say 100% because you never. But 90-10 is close you'll get. I'm 60-40 because I don't think it's NIL, but some players will get like great offers, like financially.
Yeah.
And with him, I don't know him enough as far as personal. I haven't been around the kid a lot to know if he's going to want a big payday. I think he would get paid at Alabama, obviously, but with Texas, outpaid for sure. Like, I mean, you saw they paid Isaiah Bond. You saw they're paying their players. Texas has the NIL already up and running to pay large sums of cash to lease a player for a year. Yeah. So what Alabama, I think, can do is they can give him something that Texas can't, and that's just being around where we are trying to instill belief in these players that Kellen DeBoer's the guy. He knows he's the guy. He's for the national title. Yeah. So the mission for him is clear. It's truly going to come down to does he want to pick familiarity starting day one, or does he need to get I don't know, I'd probably say $500,000 payday. That's going to come down to him. But I'm 60-40. He's going to go to Bama, but I just don't want to say more than that because I haven't heard anything negative. Yeah. But I mean, I hear Texas is still an option.
Yeah, I mean, you have a bunch of we have a bunch of Texas fans in the chat. We always do, and I also hit up Orange Bloods, and they have me as a guest, and then I've won over some Texas fans, so they come over here because they beat Alabama.
That guy's crazy, man.
Yeah, exactly. So they come over here, and they also beat Alabama, and they're excited because that was the first 10-win season since 1999, since 2009, which is crazy to think about. Same thing with like Florida State fans. They don't come in here so much, but Georgia fans are always up in here, of course.
Florida State fans are delusional, bro.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
so the cover Florida State.
Thank you.
Mike Norvell is and they're not like this. They're not like this. He's no different of a head coach than Kellen DeBoer is. Like he's had success at Memphis. He's had success at these programs. He was on the hot seat before entering last year. Like, if they didn't do well, your coach that you guys are loving now because went 13-0 is possibly going to get let go. Like, so I'm not all caught up in the Norvell, and Norvell hasn't been historically a great recruiter. Last year's class was underwhelming, and they're happy because they're getting Alabama's leftovers. The guys they got from us, we were going to let go anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and I think like that's a great point because when you look to, I mean, Roydell Williams, I love Roydell Williams, great personality out of Uniontown right here. He was going to play this year, but Justice Haynes is far better.
He didn't come back, and I love him to death. I was like, look, man, I don't need you messing up Justice Haynes and Jam Miller rotation. Yeah. No,
and I think, and I love that combo of Justice and Jam. Like those guys are, and we're not sunshine pumping here. Like Justice Haynes is that guy.
Justice Haynes, legitimately speaking, a lot of recruiting profiles gave him 4-star, but when we went back and did composite scores, we gave him a 5-star. He rushed In 2 years, his junior senior, 5,200 yards in 2 seasons, plus rushing touchdowns. Everybody in the country wanted him. And Nick Saban and that staff did a great job of flipping him and get him to come to Bama.
Yeah.
He is everything you want in a running back. He's explosive. He's got great size. If you look at in the Michigan game, he came in three runs in a row, 5, 4, 10, and his shoe fell off and they pulled him out. But some of those holes weren't open. So what he does a great job of is finding, we call it daylight. He can find the crease, and when he hits it.
Yeah.
He is the explosive running back that you needed last year. And it's not that Jace and Roydell weren't. It's just a different play style. I think Jace is probably better suited for the NFL based on his plays. He's a great pass blocking running back. He's great at coming out on little release routes from the backfield, and he's a hard runner. But in college, especially in today's like college game, you need explosiveness in the backfield. Like there's a reason like guys want 4 3s and 4 4s and 220, 230 who can break tackles and extend plays. And I'm not saying that's what we missed last year, but we didn't get enough of that with Justin Haynes and Jam Miller. Anytime those two guys came in, they just got more juice than the other two guys.
Yeah.
So like Williams, great running back, man. Like love him, been a Alabama player, but Alabama didn't want to retain him. The only one that Florida State got that I really didn't want to leave was Terrence Teford.
Yeah.
I wanted to move Teford to center. I thought
okay, so I have to ask you, because this was driving me crazy. Is like, okay, Seth had all these issues, and I asked one of our statisticians, like Chad. So first of all, Chad is undefeated. If you didn't know, like, if you need something, like don't look on your computer for any. Just ask them; they will know like immediately. Okay, and there'll be like 5 to 10 different answers. So what I kept on figuring out, like Seth had all these types of issues. I like T Ferg at center. Yep. And I liked Jaden Roberts on the right. I liked T Book on the left. That was like my dream offensive line. So when I saw that he was leaving, I was like, A, why didn't he play? And why, like this year, I felt that he would have been better suited than James Brockmeyer. I get it. People like Brailsford coming in, and that could be great. But like, what do you think happened with T Ferg?
I don't know, man, because coming out of A-Day, all the word was T Ferg is killing it. Like, I mean, if you go through spring, he was one of the guys that they said, yeah, like we know he's going to be in the 5. We just know where he's going to be in the 5 yet.
Yeah.
And then we go through fall camp. It was all good. And all of a sudden, season start, and you start with Dalcourt, and you bounce him off.
Yep.
They're playing ring around the rosy for the right guard for the first 3 or 4 games of the year. They finally find their guy who's solid there. And I think the guy they put in there, I think he was stud, man. And so, but with Seth McLaughlin, I don't get it, bro. I was perplexed on why that they wanted to continue to beat their head against the wall. As a center, much like a quarterback, we have a thing called the yips, and it happens. But after 3 or 4 games, if it's costing you huge plays, it's costing you big drives. It's like extending your downs now.
Putting you at a 4th and 31. I get it. There was like a clap or whatever, but still, like I get what you're saying.
No, the clapping stuff is weak, man, because I don't buy that, because all defenders do it. I did it in college. Everybody does it, and a lot of times it's not even. I know offense will say, "Oh, it's to like throw us off." No, like is it is sometimes, yeah. But the time I could be clapping to my guy to move, to shift. Like it's weak. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I don't buy that. And if that was a one-time deal, I would agree that you have an 8-game sample of when crap hit the fan, man, and it wasn't productive.
Yes.
And they got a game even against Georgia. It happened, but it didn't cost Bama. Mike talked about it. Yep. And then in Michigan, the drive to put the game away. We go from first down to now 2nd and 25, and then 3rd and whatever. It was abominable. So I don't know why they did that. I heard people say, "Oh, well, you have a relationship with your quarterback." Look, man, it's a clap, man. And the timing thing is why you've worked for 6-7 months with Jalen Miller through spring with camp. So that's irrelevant. Yeah, Jabbar was just getting the ball there. I think it was aware that obviously went to Ohio State, but yeah, man, a case of the yips is terrible. We should have went and saw that little psychiatrist we have in the facilities, man, to go check her out and get a couple sessions in and figure out what's going on.
Let me ask you on this next one. Okay, so Ryan Williams,
fantastic.
Look, I know, but I'm a little bit drained from all of this. Like, look, man, as I told everybody, I'm a little bit like, as I get older, my age is like chasing this up and down. It's like we're looking for good news, and then we see he's at Texas A&M. The kid, I'm sure he's a great kid, right? And it's amazing in terms of what he brings to the table. But like, where do we go from here? Like, does he leave here committed again?
So I'm not going that far. I know everybody's been asking, what do you think's gonna happen? So everybody says, or recruiting sources are saying it's a 5-team race: Texas, LSU, Auburn, Alabama, and Texas A&M. I don't think that's. I think it's more or less a 2-team race. I think it's Auburn or Auburn. Mm-hmm. So Saraland is about 20, 30 minutes north of Mobile, where he played football at. Like my last 6 or 7 years recruiting, or evaluating, like Alabama high school athletes, he's a stud. Like at wide receiver, he's one of the best to come out as far as where he's at right now. Do you want him? Yeah. He's going to walk in, and based on the attrition that's happened for Alabama as of late, he's going to walk in and be one of you guys on the outside. He's that good to where he'll go in and he'll start. Some people are saying, which I don't want to compare that, but some people are saying he's better at the same point than Julio Jones was in high school. I don't want to jump on that yet. I want to wait and see what happens before I say that. But he's in that Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley conversation of an incoming freshman. Like he's long body, long limbs, athletic. He's fast, can make every catch, can run every route. So he's what you want. What I think has been the advantages, he's got friends there. Like he's making frequent visits. Jalen Mbakwe, who they played against, and Mbakwe beat him for the state championship. So he's got great relationships there. So I think right now, if I'm killing the board, I am showing him footage of Roman Dunze and Hill. Yeah. I'm showing him what my offense looks like, what his role is going to be, the one-on-one opportunities he's going to have, because Kalen DeBoer typically spreads out a defense and puts you in a one-on-one position. That he's going to have one-on-one opportunities. I am pitching to him.
Yeah.
And I'm going to figure out NIL, because now you don't have the Nick Saban there. So, I will say he's not going to be free, but I don't think he's a guy, too, that you're going to have to pay $1 million, but you have to pay a good bit of money for him. And also, I'm pitching that Auburn got a recruit today at quarterback, a transfer that they transferred in. Still somebody big. And they've got Cam Coleman. They've got Perry Thompson. They've got legit wide receivers. However, I don't care how good a wide receiver is. You need a quarterback to facilitate that. And also, too, the question is this. If you go to Auburn, are you immediately going to start? Because you've got 2 guys that are also 5 stars. How are you going to be used? And Auburn and Hugh Freeze's not going to tell me he's going to run three wide receivers that are all outside guys. Your X, your Z, your Y.
Yeah, who is the transfer coach? People are asking.
God, I haven't.
Just ask chat. Watch this.
Yeah, he was a quarterback that Auburn just received.
Just watch. All right, continue, Will.
You got 3 outside guys. You're not going on X, Y, and Z. You would on like a Hail Mary or a burst play, but not consistently. So some's got to give there. And also, I don't give a crap if Bama lost players. Not Auburn's still in a worse position than we are. So from a talent and schematic standpoint, they're going to run the football. Hugh Freeze is back to play calling, but I believe it was Cam Coleman made a comment, or Perry Thompson just said that the reason he picked Auburn and not Alabama was because Hugh Freeze has great relationships and putting receivers in. James Madison's quarterback transferring to Auburn. Thank you, School. I appreciate that. I see they're on point, man. Yeah. So he made a statement, said Auburn, Hugh Freeze develops wide receivers, puts them in the draft. And that was the difference maker between them and Alabama. I was like, look, you've got 4, 5, 6 first-round wide receivers the last few years. Hugh Freeze has 2. That's
yeah.
Yeah, so 3, maybe Laquan Treadwell, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. And so Laquan just got cut. So, whatever, man. The LM's got guys still playing. I think for him, it'll be a lot about where does he feel comfortable at? Because Auburn's closer to Mobile. It's a 2-hour drive, whatever it is. It's closer. But I think Alabama is where he wants to be. He's going to Auburn's events, but he's wearing Alabama swag. I have not seen him wear any Auburn swag yet. I haven't seen him like endorse. I've seen, and also too, you're a kid, man. So I was there. I wanted to go to my visits.
Hell yeah!
I knew where I was gonna go.
Yep.
And I didn't like. We didn't have early signing day when I signed, but I knew where I was gonna go. And then you go to your visits, you take your time, you go see things. And so I think that's where that like is going to be a lot of. Go to Texas. Austin's a great city to visit. Go visit Austin for a good time. Like go visit. Well, College Station's terrible. So I mean, so don't go visit there. All the places you're going to visit, I understand. So, but I think, but yeah, I would say I'm 60-40 with him too. I think Alabama. I think they made the right offensive hire to instill his confidence because he just wants to be productive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wants his shot. I think he wants to play. Oftentimes, when a guy reclasses, is because they feel that they can make an impact immediately.
Mm-hmm.
If not, I would have just stayed and mature one more year physically. There's only a few guys that ever reclass that we think that makes sense. He's one of those guys. Like I mean, if you put him on any team right now, I don't know if there's that many receivers better than him. So I think 60-40, if I'm him, you want to get him. I think if you get him, your whole wide receiver aspect has changed. You've got good guys there, but I think he's walking in day one. And he's going to be your explosive on the outside. And Jalen Hale, those two guys together would be a bad combination, man. It'd be really good.
All right. Will, on with Will the Scout. People are we got to get your Instagram. Will, like, can you just give it? People are asking, and then how I wanted to kind of like navigate this back end of while we have you on. I want to open up to chat to ask questions, and then I'll play point guard. So, chat, why don't you guys hit up Will with some questions? If you have questions about whatever it is, I'll throw them Will's way, and we'll continue to talk Alabama football. A question that I have for you, Will, is about the quarterback position again, and it's not about Julian Sain. And look, I understand that Jalen Milroe is starting quarterback coming in. I am a Jalen Milroe supporter, just so you know. First one is about beard conditioner. Beard oil is important stuff. Like that is really important stuff.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about Dylan Lonergan because I don't think people understand how good he is. How there was coaches on Alabama's team that wanted him to actually start at the beginning of the season. It wasn't and I'm not saying any no disrespect, no shade to Ty Simpson at all. It's just that Dylan Lonergan is that guy. What do we like about him? What are you hearing about him? Because I think it's important that while Julian Sain is going to leave, he's gone. Well, headlines will rotate. Dylan Lonergan is a baller.
So he played baseball, two-way sport athlete in high school. Played baseball too. He's got a cannon, which is first and foremost what everybody liked about him. Great arm. I think he's potentially the most underrated quarterback currently on a big-time program's roster. I think we probably sold him a little short, on his evaluation. And it happens a lot of times when we evaluate the recruits. It's not solely based. There's a lot of outside factors. Are you playing Class 1 football or Class 5 football? Are you playing? It maybe shouldn't matter, but I'm telling you guys, it does matter. Are you a private school guy? Or are you coming from Alabama 6 class or Florida 7 class? That stuff matters to us. Who are you playing against? And so I think he's underrated. I think he's probably on the fringe of being that upper echelon 4-star, elite 4-star quarterback, top 10, top 15. But his talent's stupid. He's got a big arm. He's accurate. He's strong in the pocket. He's got great pocket awareness. I think Alabama knew when they signed him, he was going to be good. I don't think anybody knew he was going to be that good. Mm-hmm. Not even us. When I started getting reports out of Tuscaloosa that he was doing X, Y, I was like, then I saw you got reported, then Locked on Bama reported, and then I'm seeing him on threes talking about. I was like, let me call some guys, see what's going on. And he was lighting it up, man. I mean, he was lighting the camp, and the discussion was, do we start the true freshman? They were in a position last year where they figured that if Ty wasn't the guy and Jalen didn't work out, then we can start Dylan Lonergan and we're going to be fine in that position with him. Mm-hmm. And he's also physically mature. He's a bigger bodied quarterback. Yeah, he's got a big build to him. So you don't worry about him necessarily taking a beating or getting hurt. So it's always possible, but he's not as frail as you would say a Bryce Young, who's more on a smaller build as far as frame wise. So he's got size. So he's checked all the boxes, man. The question will be now, does Jalen Milroe lose the job? I think it's his job to lose.
Yeah.
I think that I don't. So people are saying, "Oh, like competition." I don't think it's going to be a competition. Kellen DeBoer said himself that he's going to center his offense around who he has back there. I think there's two things that can put Jalen in a position where he can lose his job. Obviously, not getting the offense down as far as playbook calls, adjustments. That's one big one. But secondly, is not being able to get through the reads. Especially on an offense which is predicated on making the right read. Now people think Kellen DeBoer like passes 70% of the time. Man, it's really like I think it's 60-40 or 55-45.
Because that's one of the things that I pointed out was the fact that the running back ran for 1,400 yards, right?
Johnson, Johnson. Yeah. So they're going to run heavy, but the reason Michael Penix was so good because he made the right read. If you make the right read against the right defense, you take advantage of that. And I think one thing that Bama did not do a good job of last year, it really irritated me in the Texas game. You need to window dress. When you have a young quarterback back there, put some guys in motions. See the defense is in man. See the defense is in zone. There are little things you can do to give him an advantage. And you saw the first half against Texas, no motion. They did motion the third quarter, and then Jalen hit the touchdown pass to Jermaine Burton over the top. But I think that Kellen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, those guys will be aware of even though he's a second-year starter, he's still a first year in your system. So I don't know how much you can apply, but he'll be the most athletic. He is. I think he has I'll say this. He has the highest ceiling of a quarterback in the country, which means if he checks all the boxes and everything's right, I think from an explosive standpoint, his deep arm accuracy was great. Hell, last year people say he was terrible against the pass rush. Man, he was ranked 1 or 2 in the country, 122% PFF grade against the pass rush or against the blitz. That would have been 5th best in the NFL. So, getting people in your face, he did well with that. So, I think you give him time. I think he's great. But I think Dylan Longren is your plan B. I don't think Ty for me, I thought Ty was going to transfer. I'm surprised he has not entered the portal. I don't know what's going on there. We overvaluate kids sometimes. I'm not saying we overvaluated him, but he played in Martin. His dad was the OC at UT Martin. That they're a small 3A school. He did really well there, but I don't know, man. I just feel like he's missing the stuff. He hasn't taken the reins. People thought he would do it last year, take the reins of the offense. He didn't. People complain about Milroe. Ty Simpson was terrible when it came to camp last year, is making adjustments, making reads. He did not excel in that environment. And obviously, if you look at USF, he came in and he led a good drive towards the end, but that game shouldn't have been that close. I don't care if it was raining or not raining. So it was very different.
I liked when I think about Ty, I liked what I saw against Kentucky, because that was the most time that we saw him come in. Like the USF game was like complete trash, but like the Kentucky one, he came in, did his thing, but we never really got a chance to see Lon again. So that's why I figured I'd ask you about him. The other thing I wanted to ask you about was the fact with Caden Proctor exiting out and kind of looking at Alabama's offensive line, how you think it could shake out. I know we're talking about Parker Brailsford coming in, so let's just hypothetically say he commits, which seems like it's going to happen. Okay, so he would be theoretically your center, or James Brockemeyer, right? You have those two competing for the center spot. You have your guards, which are phenomenal. I mean, Booker and Jaden Roberts loaded there. Love what we like. I think, someone's like, I thought we were asking questions. I'm asking some questions. I haven't seen you guys ask the questions. I'll put them on the screen. Let me ask the one about the offensive line real quick. I got a lot of questions to ask.
No problem.
I'm worried about the offensive line. I'm worried kind of, about all this stuff. But Elijah Pritchett, who else at tackle? Who else are we looking at? I was kind of looking at guys rotating in. I mean, Wilcom Formby, Ola Saline. And, I mean, could Tyler Booker, does he have the skill set to play tackle?
So that was my thought process. Was Elijah Pritchett left tackle, Parker Brailsford at center, because I think we'll get him. I said that. You leave the right tackle as it is. You move Tyler Booker to right guard as it move Booker to right tackle, and then you go after Landon Hatchett. The interior offensive lineman from Washington plugged him in left guard.
Yeah, because he was a and then there's also Nick Kelpo too that I think is in, but I don't know if he would come in or wherever.
Brandon Hatch is who you want to get, man. You've got 3 years of eligibility remaining. He won Washington's Freshman of the Year award. Played in 9 games. 4-star recruit. 4-star recruit. Number 7 interior offensive lineman. We project him as a center, in the Power 5. He's 6'2", 310. I don't know what you got to do to get him, but if you can get him, I would get him. And if you can't get a tackle in the April 15th transfer window, I would talk to Booker about potentially doing that. Just Booker's so good on the inside, but I think he's good everywhere. Right. He can play 1 through 5 on the offensive line.
Here's a question for us. All right. So Trace, appreciate the questions, and I appreciate you supporting Will on the show. So definitely, hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We appreciate the super chats. And we want to have Will on more. Will Scout. I think he has great takes. And the only thing I ask of you, Will, is when you come here, just be authentic. Be yourself. Don't hold back. Don't sugarcoat it. We want to know what's on your mind. Tell us how it is. The people deserve to know. That's it. Good, bad, whether they like it. Some people will leave the chat and they're like, I can't take it because a lot of this sucks. We haven't even had time to process Coach Saban retiring and then Julian saying, kick.
I'll say this to Bama fans, and because I know it's crappy right now, but Georgia lost 17 in their window. Teams lose players every year in, year out now.
Yeah.
Minus the 7 going from the draft. So you're at 22, 23, whatever, exiting. It's not the volume of players. So I'll be honest, it's not the volume of players that are bothering Alabama. It's the quality of the last few players that have left that's really bothering Alabama. But if you only recruit 4 or 5 stars, that's all you got to leave. So it's the other schools that have a good mixture of 3, 4s, 5, 2s, you don't care for these star leagues. You don't care for 2-star leagues. Yeah. But if you're that's all you're recruiting. That's all your roster is composed of. So have you heard the blue chip ratio?
No, tell us.
So blue chip ratio is what we all do when we look at a university as far as blue chip 4 and 5 stars. How much of your team is composed of that?
Yeah.
So entering last season, Bama was number 1 in the country with 92% of the team was composed of 4 and 5 stars. The only people were long snappers and kickers. So they were the most talented team in the country last year based on paper as far as recruits. Georgia was number 2 at 82-85. Ohio State was number 3 in that same 82-89 mark. You had Texas A&M was number 4 at 69-70%. Michigan was 60%. And all that means is how much of your team is composed of that. So think about Alabama. I just told you they're 92% blue chips. So that's all you got to lose. Your long snapper ain't going away. Your kicker's not your kicker. He just he's done. His eligibility ran out. And so what you're seeing is it's not so much the volume, it's the great way. We don't really care about who left pre-Nick Saban. You have pre-numbers and post-numbers. The post-numbers that people don't like. It's the Caleb Downs, it's those guys. But you can recruit and you can replace those guys. I'm not going to say you're going to get Caleb Downs again. You're not going to get a guy maybe comparable to him. But you can find somebody who can do a job based on your defense. But, yeah, I just think that your team is made of these elite athletes. So when you lose somebody, it's going to hurt more because that's all you've got are quality guys. And universities who might have missed out on that shot the first time can go back in and recruit them. I'm not gonna lie, if I wasn't Alabama, I'd be recruiting somebody from Alabama. I'd be tampering, I'd be seeing what's going on. It sucks from that standpoint. And I think that the rules don't favor any team that loses a coach. Arizona's same situation. Washington has the same situation. So then it's not just us suffering. I just think it's like somebody walked to our bank vault and it's still in our gold. You know what I mean? They're raiding and pillaging our pantries, man, and cleaning us out, so to speak. So that's where I think the difference is for us. Darling.
We had a couple questions coming in. T, can you put up that first question? It had it was from Crutchfield. I'm trying to find it back in the comment box. And it was in related to basically Coach Saban. Anyways,
I saw and I remember that he said if Saban
Saban left with the transfer portal kind of be the same. Yeah. I mean, short answer is no, because he's still here. There was that transfer portal Wednesday when guys were kind of getting processed out. I think I know you guys aren't asking me, but I'm just giving my point. I think Caleb Downs is still here, Julian Stain's still here, but Will, go ahead.
So I don't think so. Now, Caleb Downs' dad said if Caleb would have knew that Nick Saban was retiring before he signed, he still would have signed if he said this is my last year, he still would have came for a year.
Yeah.
I think that probably would have happened because a year at Alabama, a year at Georgia can mean a national title. I mean, you're an overtime play away from extending, going and competing possibly for one. So that was on the table. But I think it would have been the same kind of outcome based on you're still losing your coaches. I mean, like a lot of guys recruited Caleb Downs. They like to recruit a lot of these guys on this. So you've got Saban. You don't have Pete Golden, who was there in the initial recruit of Caleb Downs. He's gone. Grimace went to Auburn, which is when I attended Kiteman down there. You've got T-Rob gone. Offensive line coach is gone. Offensive line coach is gone. You've got receiver coach is gone. I mean, your coordinators are gone. So, I mean, 90% of the staff is gone. You got two guys there. And unless you're a defensive lineman or a running back, you don't work with those guys on a one-on-one basis, Tuesday through Friday. So I think it would have been the same. The difference is that you might have had time to save them. Basically, you had more time before they could enter the portal.
Mm-hmm.
No, because somebody's entering the portal like mid-season. They're going to finish the season out. But who are you getting to coach? Kellen Ward's not coming if you go in December. The quality coaches that are competing for a spot aren't leaving their program. So you're going to probably put in an interim coach, T-Rob or Tommy Rees, to run your team for a matter of 4 to 6 weeks. So I think it would have been a recipe for disaster from that standpoint, especially with that remaining schedule that you had still.
Mm-hmm. Another question. Okay. We're gonna save this question right here. Okay. But there's been like 5 questions about
this question about the defensive lineman, right?
Yeah, that was from Michigan. Let's save that one too. Okay. And this one is like a hot question. Okay. Is David Cooper, because he was I think the recruiting coordinator at Georgia. People are saying that there's smoke out there in terms of him potentially coming to Alabama. I've seen this too. People are asking about it. Have you heard anything on that, Will? I think we're still diving into that. What do you?
Contacts have been made from Kellen DeBoer in Alabama. Mm-hmm. So there are talks. I don't know exactly how far it's gotten, but David Cooper has ties with Kellen DeBoer, and so I know Graham Toffee reported from Georgia's side that they were in talks. All I know right now, I don't know if anything's been signed yet or delivered, but I know that they contacted yesterday. So that should, if anything's going to happen, I'd say today or Monday.
And then who would be the best defensive lineman that Alabama could target if the portal opens for them with Jim Harbaugh taking a job in the NFL?
All right. So 2, you've got.
Are we just basically saying who are we who is Alabama poaching?
Yeah, there's 2 guys, Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham. That's your 2 starting interior D tackles. It's the best combo starting interior lineman in the country.
Who was that monster? That number 50, was that one of them? Number 55, who was just
that's Mason Graham. He is all Big Ten first team, and then Kenneth Grant. So they're both big. Mason's 6'3", 318. Kenneth is 6'3", 340. So they're both studs. They're both all Big Ten first team. You got 2 first team D tackles on your team from the same conference. Like, they're studs on the inside, and they're both only sophomores. So,
but like Robert is saying, like, those guys don't leave, right? Like, those guys don't leave. Those guys get taken care of, right?
Different, because you won a national title, and that's different. I don't think Caleb Downs, if Ben would have won this year, I don't think Caleb Downs would have left. So that's the difference, right? So if, say, you come to Alabama, like, look at Malachi Moore. Malachi Moore could have left, but he won a national title in 2020 as a freshman. This is his 5th year. Mm-hmm. So he's got a ring already. So he's done his Bama legacy. I think nobody would have left if you won a national title this year. I think because part of the reason I'm here is to win a national title. Caleb Downs is a draft pick regardless. Caden Carter would have developed regardless. But the financial standpoint, as good as it is, you're going to make more in the league. Like if you're one of those guys that we just talked about, who's probably going to be a high pick guy, you're going to make more money in the league. Mm-hmm. But does anybody think that Bama can win a national championship as currently constructed? No, they don't. Like, they're leaving. I'll go somewhere to compete still. So I think that if they'd have won this year, I think Caleb Downs would have left. Even with the subtraction of T-Rob, Caleb Downs is a #1 pick right now. He's a bottom 30 pick. If you 2 years, he's a top 10 pick. So so I think national title makes a difference, man. I think if Bama would have won that, you probably would have a lot of different tones. I don't think it would have been a mass like leaving or entering the portal. I think that makes a difference. And then, do you believe what the new coach is selling? Do I think this guy can get me to where I want to be? Am I comfortable with the new staff? And I heard somebody in your comments yesterday was like, "Oh, well, he's a new coach at Georgia. That's different." Well, it's not really different. And what I mean by that, these guys recruited him 4 years in high school. He knows Kirk. He knows Glenn Schumann. He knows T-Rob. You go to Ohio State, he knows that step. He knows Ryan Day. So they haven't had a huge coaching match. So it's a new change of scenery. But I've known these coaches for 4 years, so I have a relationship with these guys, even though I didn't go there. And what you also notice in today more than any time in college football, college coaches are keeping their relationships open for when this happens. So they're like, hey, there's every chance that he leaves. Let's just say on good terms with him. Say hi to his mom. Say hi to him. Like, great job. Like, so they're not spurring players anymore for this reason, because you may have a second opportunity to recruit them. And so, but no, I think that they wouldn't have changed much. I think national championship, nothing changes besides a coach and a face. And because does it change recruiting that much? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so Coach Saban leaves, but we still won a national title. Would you have you would have had a few guys leave, but it would have been on this massive a scale.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We got another question. This is not a screenshot alert. I'm doing something that I need to take care of. When I screenshot, everyone, all the fans have now come to like associate that with like breaking news, which it kind of is, because I do like screenshot like tweets and like bring them in.
I understand.
And right now, since like all this, the spill out, people are like, shit, they just.
Oh man, I've seen everybody's channels blow up on this last week, man.
Yeah, no, I know the views have been they haven't been bad.
Big Saban, bad for Alabama football, good for business, man. It's good for business.
For sure. Yeah, and our channel was kind of like right there, like kind of on the verge of like, see, Jimmy Baker's like the screenshot, get me going. It's like the bell. Yeah. Anyways, okay. There was a star question that we had.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to it. There was one I saw. It looked like it was about quarterbacks. Add that to quarterbacks are always exciting to talk about. Let me find it. All right, here we go. Besides Milroe and Justice, now who do you think will be the biggest blow if this of the team? Second, do you think Justice will leave because Downs left, as they are good friends?
Besides Milroe and Justice, biggest blow. Tyler Booker.
Yeah, but he's not going. I mean, the guy is like all.
I guess, but you're saying has potential to go from Jaheim Otis. Jaheim Otis is your starting interior defensive lineman next year. Texas is going insane right now with the rumors they want to sign him. Like that Texas is going nuts on their boards if he comes available. There are rumors out about Jaheim Otis, just like Keon Keeley, that he could be interested in transferring out. I think he's huge. I think Damani Jackson goes back into the portal. That's big.
Oof.
I think like that. Nobody's talking about that, but he can do that. Like he's got 30 days, even though he signed. Yeah. So if he decides to leave, I think now you're probably back to square one on that corner position. Now it's question mark. You could be having a true freshman in there. And then so I think that those two guys, Jaheim is like that's big, but Damani Jackson, he would just say, yeah, man, no Saban. Wasn't going well at USC. I'm not going to try it here with new coaches again like this. So I'll be out. I think that'd be big.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I was thinking too. I mean, that's kind of like that. I think that freaked a lot of people out.
Double dipping the portal, man.
But I have heard the Jaheim Otis stuff too. Look, I guess like playing Mr. Brightside, I feel like Tim Keenan kind of outplayed Jaheim Otis. I think Jaheim Otis had a better season the year before. Yeah. But that's just my opinion.
I agree. Jaheim had a banged up year. His ankle, his knee was banged up from week 4 or 5 through the rest of the year. If you notice, week 1 through 3, no knee brace. Week 4, knee brace. Rumors came out that he was pretty bruised knee, twisted ankle, and it kind of nagged him the rest of the year. But I also think he played out of position. I don't think he needs to be that wide on the defensive line. Like he's more of an interior lineman to me. If you look at how they play him at A&M, he collapsed the pocket. Like A&M was one of his best games from just creating havoc and collapsing the pockets up the middle, so to speak. But that's where I would put him at. He's a defensive tackle. I wouldn't even have him on the strong side end or any kind of end. Put him on the inside. And also too, I think, when you lose a lot of weight, that's different. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Jaheim Otis, he was 200 pounds. 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 He He's lighter in the trenches, so I wonder if that was new to him too. I mean, he was 363. I mean, he was huge, 350, whatever it was. I mean, he was humongous. He came as a freshman. That's a lot of weight to move around, but it's also a lot of weight for the other guy across you to move around. You're 318, 320. I just wondered if that was different too. Him getting used to playing that light, even though it may feel better. Leverage is more important there. You can't lean on a guy as much as you can at 360, 380. There's only a couple of guys I've seen that heavy move. Trevante Sweat at Texas. His 340 is different. Jeremy Graham's 340 at Michigan is different. Those guys are moving. And so I wonder if that's different as well. But yeah, I'm with you. I had big hopes for him this year. He was my preseason All-American. Bud Elliott from Cover 3 had him preseason All-American. A lot of guys did, but didn't pan out. But I think that hopefully next year is his big year because, I mean, the hype for him is still higher than ever.
Hey, fam, inside the comment box, we got Will the Scout on for just a few more minutes, but hit the thumbs up on this segment and definitely go, support the content. So when you see a video out by us, hit the thumbs up. We want to definitely have Will, brought on more, content creators like you. So, this has definitely been great for a lot of people. There's been some questions about the staff, so I'm kind of loop into this as one, and you can finish out on this, Will. The new staff hires, and I'll kind of zoom in on that. If T, can you make all this out, Coach, on your side? I mean, so people want to know about the new safety hire, which is Colin Hitchler, and I think Kane Womack. If you can just hit up on the new coaching staff, maybe from the safety and the defensive side, and then kind of just sum it up with the coaching staff that Coach Kalen DeBoer has put together so far.
Yeah. So defensive side, I've seen a lot of people ask as far as Kane Womack, what kind of system does he run? Is it 4-2-5? Is it a nickel? It's tomato. It's whatever the defensive coach, like whatever his terminology uses. Kane calls it a 4-2-5. His terminology will be different. Like he used like Wolf and Husky. He uses different terminology for a very similar defense. That's what he'll run. 10-3 2 years ago at South Alabama. 8-4 last year. Beat Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State. Like has got considerable wins. His defense is very good. He was the defense coordinator at Indiana between 2018 and 2020 while Kalen DeBoer was on staff there. He was up for the Broyles Award in 2020 for best offensive defensive coordinator in the country. His defense led the country in turnovers with 24th that year. He was top 3, top 5 in every category with 3-star talent. And so now you're giving him better guys. So I'd expect a bigger impact defensively speaking for him. But also sometimes you need change. And I think you have a lot of hungry guys this year want to get playing time, get on the field, which should create great competition and hopefully a nastier, hungrier defense. But he was a great hire. Like I think that anytime you can get a DC that has head coaching experience and knows how to manage people, knows how to manage your roster, knows how to put guys in the right position, and has had great experience as a DC, get him. He's still young. He's still in his 30s. He was the youngest DC in the country in 2020, so I like him a lot. Maurice Linguist, obviously, comes from Buffalo, but he was a DB coach at Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Dallas Cowboys, big recruiter in the South, which is another reason why I think that Kalen DeBoer got him. He's not just a guy from the North. He's from the South. He just went to North to coach. So opposite of what Kalen DeBoer is doing coming out West to here. But he's been a great recruiter, and he's a great developer. So I think as far as a DB coach available, great to get. And like I said, the co-DC, that's just for a pay raise, and he'll be that passing game coordinator on defense.
Yep.
Freddie Roach, obviously, we know Freddie been there for a long time now. Keep him, keep your D-line happy, but also keep a little bit of relevance and continuity in the building. So I like that. And then I don't think there's another D-line coach available that I would hire over him. So I think he's great. The safety coach, so Colin Hitchler, he's exciting. He's Wisconsin's best recruiter. So as far as the safeties coach is great, but his recruiting has been great. And I think that was another big reason why. Wisconsin, I mean, they've put some boys in the leagues. They've had some really good, competent seasons. I just think that between new head coaches and transitioning twice now, you get a lack of the well can dry up quick up north based on talent, especially when you're trying to recruit in the South and teams are expanding and willing to recruit at a higher level. But all the big recruits that Wisconsin's gotten in the last few years has been from Colin Hitchler. So he can recruit that area. He can recruit guys down here. I think he's great. I think it was a good addition. I think that his recruiting upside for Alabama is probably higher than his safeties coach. Not saying he's a bad coach, but recruiting is really what he's great at. What's interesting is the Scott Huff, like he brought him at D-line too.
Yep.
That one, I mean, I guess you're gonna have two D-line guys. Given input, I haven't heard much about him. I know he's from the DeBoer coaching tree, but I don't have too much to say. Like in depth, I don't think you're going to do anything astronomically different with two guys coaching the same position. I do like, but I like Ryan Grove. Obviously, Nick Saban wanted him last year, so Nick Saban wanted to bring him in last year, and that say a lot about him. If you guys, Bama fans, give a lot of respect.
And just to point that out, Will, is I think we need to make sure that's fixed on the graphic. But Scott Huff is the offensive line coach, and he was the leader of the Joe Moore Award last year, which Washington's offensive line won, and that's why people are also. And you knew this, Will, but also I'm just saying it to reiterate it is that fact that that's why we're excited about Parker Brailsford. I don't know, I feel he's a little bit undersized. I like my centers a little bit larger, but that's kind of the way we have it, man. But Will, good stuff, man. Crushed it. I mean, his first time on, and how about a round of applause inside the comment box for Will?
I appreciate you guys, and thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Definitely. We want you here, and we definitely want to have you contribute on the channel. To be straightforward, man. So we will be hitting you up after this, and continue to come with it, man. Did you have a good time?
Oh, great time, man. Like I said, I love you guys. I love your show. My brother loves your show. My brother called me. He's like, "Hey, man, you know that Kyle show, dog? You killed it." I was like, "Yeah." He said, "I heard Will in Tampa." I was like, "I think that's my brother."
Yeah.
Yeah. He blew me up. No, man. He watched you every day. He works in a warehouse, man. So he just puts his AirPods in and plays your show all day, man. So he's pumped about it.
All right, man. Well, tell him I said what's up, and that we love having you on. And we appreciate you guys supporting the product, the content, and we'll catch up with you. I'll hit you up with the text, and we'll figure out kind of the schedule, and definitely want to have you in the mix, in the rotation.
No, definitely, brother. I appreciate that, man. I'll be watching news today, so if I have anything, I'll drop it into you, bro.
Dude, I love it, man.